Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Westover and welcome to Accounted International. Today I'm joined by Andrew Kirby and we are talking about how to manage your manager. I became a manager and I realized I didn't have the right skill set at that point and there was a lot I needed to learn. And one of the things I really needed to learn really fast was how to manage my manager. And someone said that to me and I understood the words, but I didn't know how to achieve it. So today we're going to talk about a few tips that Andrew and I have. I'll hand over to Andrew now and let him kick this off.
Okay, thanks, Natasha. First up, I would suggest perhaps if you have a regular meeting with your manager, and during that meeting, I would suggest listing out your projects, their projects, and enter into a bit of a negotiation as to whose priorities come out first. Naturally, they're going to want to have their projects at the top of the list, and you're going to want yours to be top of the list. And it comes down to just negotiating between the two of you and working out which is the priority. I think it's all too easy to take it that what your manager says goes, but at the same time, if you have deadlines to meet and or other people within the business are making demands on your time, then it's for you to be able to push back on your manager and say, well, actually, I understand your priority, but I feel that I need to focus my efforts in this area rather than that area. So I think a key skill in managing your manager is to be able to negotiate with them and to be able to align goals and projects. And in addition to that, he said, I can't think of anything else. No.
Do you want me to edit that bit, Andrew?
I think that might be useful.
Do you have any more? Because I've got some stuff to say
I
on what you
did
said.
have another one, but I can't remember what it is now. Don't you hate that? I'll go on, you do yours. I'll come back.
You didn't, you've gone through everything you gave me on your list earlier.
There was something else earlier, and I did have something, but I can't remember what it is now. It's terrible.
Okay, so I think you and I were quite aligned on this in having regular meetings with your manager, having those check-ins. For me, it's really about creating a forum in which you can have a conversation with your manager. And the expectation is, for some people, they think that will come from their manager. And I say to everybody, especially when I'm mentoring people or coaching people, whether you're the manager or the team player, no matter which side you're on, I always say to everyone, it's your responsibility to get those meetings in the diary. Just don't leave it up to someone else. And the reason it's your responsibility is if it doesn't happen, you've missed an opportunity to build that relationship with your manager, to build that trust, and to build your confidence. And so the other thing I was saying, leading on from what you were saying, sorry, is that when you meet with your manager, it might be really nerve-wracking when you are sort of in that position and you're not sure how to have those conversations, especially over tricky things, like you were talking about negotiating things, talking about prioritizing things, and you might have a preference that might be different to your boss. And so if you've got these regular meetings, it means you can't shy away from it. You can't just like bail out and go, oh, well, they didn't book a meeting, so we don't talk about that stuff. Because if it doesn't happen, it will play out in both your behavior elsewhere. Their expectations will be here, yours will be here. you know, they'll never meet. So it's a good place to like both get aligned with your expectations. But also, even if you're having regular meetings, it's really important to just practice getting your voice heard and practice building your confidence with bringing up even small things, just things so that you and your boss can start understanding how the pair of you communicate, how you make decisions, how you both compromise. It's really, really important to just practice those things so that even if it doesn't feel like you're discussing massive things, when massive things come along, and massive things could be deciding who on your team is going to be made redundant, and you're now part of that conversation, they're big, massive things. So before then, you want to have built trust with your manager. You want to have understood how your manager works, how they operate, or almost like it's like doing a dance. You need to understand the ebbs and flows of it. Go on, Andrew.
I was going to say, absolutely, that was going to be my next point, was very much a case of building that relationship with the manager, and understand not just what is going on in a work context, but what's going on in their lives generally, because you know, you can read a lot into into how somebody behaves in the workplace if you understand what's going on outside of the workplace. But I think also it is a case of learning to read your manager and how they, you know, what their sort of common behavioural traits are, and what also from a work context, what they're looking for. Trying to preempt what your manager's going to ask you gives you the opportunity to to be able to negotiate on things, because you've already done that little piece of work that makes their life easier. It just gives you added, or adds value to your adds value to you, and improves your profile in the business. I think the more you can anticipate what's coming, the easier it is to manage manage what's coming out from your manager.
And that's why, as you were talking, I was getting very excited. That's why it's really important when you're talking about building that trust, building that relationship, to not assume too much. And at the start, if you're not sure how to manage your manager, a lot of it is just about coming with the right sort of questions. And those questions are about clarification, so that you haven't just assumed something's going to happen because it's always been done that way. Maybe it's about clarification is a really good place to start to understand how someone communicates and how they respond to you. And it's about you coming with a certain set of communication, how you communicate. You need to find your pace, your rhythm, your style with that. But also it's about looking across at the other person and going, how do they respond to me? I think that's another way of saying what you've just said. Yeah. But it is about a lot of people get stuck in their own head, and I came to this meeting to get this for me, and I want you to do that. And actually what we're talking about with managing your manager is looking up and going, okay, when I asked them outright, that seemed to make them uncomfortable and they retreated. And looking at the signs of when someone retreats or when they get engaged. I know with certain people, when I say, God, what would it take for us to do this? They go, yeah, what would it take question? And, it opens up their mind and their creativity. For other people, if I say, oh, what would it take for us to achieve this year? They go, I don't know, don't ask me, because it's too big a question. And that's what I mean when I say practice it and build your confidence.
Being able to read your manager and to understand their expectations, to understand their motivations, and to be able to, where you can, preempt the questions, to preempt the behaviors, I think, I think that's an important skill, being able to read the person sitting opposite you and understand the best way of engaging with them and the best way of motivating them as well as yourself.
Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.